Welcome back, guys. XTech Talks. I'm here with my guy Jesse from OSight, and we got a real interesting conversation for you guys today. But we like to jump it off always with the best question that always feeds into a great conversation. What was your first experience with a firearm?
Oh man, that had to be. I didn't grow up with firearms. My dad was in the military, grandparents, brother, everybody's in, but I was the only one that didn't go in. And then I really wasn't around guns. We were into skateboards and bikes and dirt bikes and stuff like that. So we were into anything with gas. So anyway, then it was after I started G Code is actually when I think I first actually played with guns. So yeah.
That's interesting. So then how did you embark on the mission to start G Code before ever really being a gun guy?
Oh man, it's a funny story because like it as weird as it sounds, it kind of fell in my lap. Like the universe kind of was like, here, in a way, because at the time I was actually pursuing an art career. So galleries, canvas painting, murals, sculptures. I was pursuing art in a fine art way, and then I was making sculptures. And I had a buddy who was doing he had his own metal shop, like welding and industrial type stuff. And then my uncle was like, hey, go meet this guy, and he'll teach you how to MIG weld, TIG weld, blah, 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 for sculptures. Cool, great. Went over there and was working with him, and then he had a buddy who just bought a CNC machine. And he was like, hey, well, if you're getting into art, he was like, dude, CNC machines, sky's the limit. And he was like, well, I got a friend who just bought one. It's at his house. It's not, it wasn't a business really. And then he was like, well, go help him out. And he needed help for like 2 nights running the CNC machine to meet a deadline. And then whenever I got linked up with him, I went to go leave, whatever. And he was like, hey, would you want to stay on for like help? And I was like, sure. And I'm just putting screws in holes. And this was very primitive, And then but at the time, I didn't know what the company was. I had no idea, because my mind was just, this is a side hustle to me. Yeah. So then it ended up being G Code, and I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, we're into guns. I'm like, cool, great. So just by being in the culture, and that was when it really started to blossom to learn about gun. And this, you got to think, this is back. I don't even know. This was before Facebook was invented. Whoa. So this is back in the day, And it's just a couple of dudes in the shed behind a house pretty much, So, and I was the baby. I was like 20 at the time or something.
Wow.
Next guy up was, he had to be in his 50s. So I'm just a kid in a corner just bolting stuff together. But that was really my way of getting into the industry, so to speak. Like I said, I didn't pursue it. It kind of just happened. And then later on, when I was still pursuing art, and then it was basically like, hey, I don't want you to quit art, but I want you full time. So basically we worked out negotiations of get me on full time, and then stay with them ever since. And it was like 16, 17 years later. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, now I have to ask this, because familiar experience coming into the gun industry very young. I think I was like 24, 25, and it was the same thing. The next age up was like 36. Yeah. And they were considered somebody that was young in the industry. So what was your experience like when you got into the industry that young? What was the landscape like? Because like you said, that was basically before social media came crashing in.
So back then, the big thing was forums, where you get on an old school forum, and that was it. And then my knowledge was because Scott's the main founder, but he's an old time Marine, and he would have older friends come in, and they were older crowd, but they were all respectable dudes. Yeah. I was like, this is cool. And then he's law enforcement, and he's military, and he's a competition shooter, and I'm being introduced to all these people, and just sitting around and lingo and whatever. But I looked at it as respectable, because everybody that came in, they had good integrity, they were good people, come from a good background, and they meant well. So I had a good impression in the very beginning because of who was coming in the door, and then we're starting to sell to the government, and all these people, and I was like, cool. It's like that's what kind of like jumped me. I was like, hey, this is kind of cool, you
Right,
know? But
yeah.
completely left field for sure.
So did they? I'm sure, because everybody that I've met through the industry, they all poured into my knowledge of the gun industry, and I think that's a misconception that gets spread a little bit, is that like it's a lot of gatekeeping, but it's really it is at a certain level, but like at least for me, I didn't have any. Everybody gave me the keys to the gate. You know what I mean? They really like seeing younger people come in. Now to that. I guess to the other end of that, why do you think, and we'll probably get into this further in the discussion, but why do you think we haven't seen more people basically bring in younger 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds? Like the director of my boys program, I got him at 19 and was like, okay, well, again, if my ceiling was this high at 24, what could yours be at 19?
Exactly.
So why do you think that thought process isn't materializing throughout everywhere?
I don't know, because I look at it as a double-edged sword, because on one end, we are enthusiasts, we work in it, we live and breathe this stuff. And anybody that, my friend group is somehow mostly gun related, whatever. But I don't know, because like we can only affect who is within our reach or whatever. But if you're talking about like the masses, it's like the first thing that triggers my mind is how media is covered, how it's portrayed. It's more demonized and looked down upon than uplifted.
Right. So,
like a conversation we had is like, you don't see people that it's nothing to glorify, I guess. Like, did you see I just saw a picture the other day where it was like the emoji time frame of like between Apple and Mac and all these other people, and it's like when emojis first came out and it's this icon, and then over the years it's turned into a little squirt gun or something.
Right.
So I felt like there is some type of way of like there is a media gatekeeping thing, and and I get their perspective, but I don't know. So I feel like in the younger generation now, it's not like I'm one of them, I don't know, but they just have a different outlook on things. We're I guess, I'm 41 now, so I guess I'm considered old school, or I'm getting there.
If you're thinking about the demographic of the gun industry, you're not.
But the younger generation, what they see and what's pumped to them, and like a lot of people, if you're not really around the guns like that, like, and there's nobody to pull you into it, I don't know, like, or there may not be many opportunities for them, at the same time, I
think one opportunity that they kind of have missed, and it's still technically an open window, but the gamer community.
Correct.
Like, there's so many guns in all video games now. It's like, how can you not make this direct correlation to the next generation? Especially with, what's the new one? It's the new game.
I know Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty is about to hit.
Nah, it's like the SWAT one. The SWAT game.
Oh, shoot. I don't even know, man.
I'm
not too big of a gamer, so.
Got you. Yeah. I'll think about it. But either way, obviously we know like Fortnite, all those games, they have like real guns. So
correct.
I think that was definitely is an opportunity for them to integrate more younger people.
For sure. I mean, it's there. Because we were looking at the Call of Duty numbers in a couple meetings ago, and it was astounding, the numbers of how many people are playing right now in a month, and it's insane. But it's getting, like from there, like where do they go from there? Do they step into airsoft first at a younger age, and are they bugging their parents, or like, hey, go get me a BB gun or something? Like there's got to be a gateway drug somewhere along the way,
right?
But I don't know, because they look at it as more of like killing, and I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird kind of dynamic.
Yeah. I think it's one that at least my platforms are focusing on, is like, we can't preserve these rights if we don't have anybody next to preserve these rights.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into, I guess, your industry experience. Because I wasn't in it before social media. So what was the industry like before? Like you mentioned the forums, but like what was SHOT Show like before influencers were a thing?
To me, it was more, you were calling people brothers. Hey, brother. Like it was more of a family, like buddy system. We're all helping each other out. We had plenty of friends that were in the industry that were non-competing. And we were all like, we all talked all the time about business. How can we help? How can we grow? Hey, there's this range day going on. Hey, there's this event going on. We all work together as a unit. And we still do that today, but it seems more like kind of surface level. It's not, everybody's kind of too busy doing their own thing. Where I think back then it was more of a simpler time. Nobody was thinking about social media. Nobody was thinking about having to take photos and videos and YouTube. No, that wasn't even a question. So that lead, you know, because if you think now, like how much effort and energy has to go into this now in this current age we live in, delete all that.
Right.
So now you're just sitting back and you're calling people. You're, you know, they're texting. I mean, it wasn't too big of a thing, but like it was more of a relationship based and more communication. And now it's like with everything going on, people are so divided in 100 directions. You know, especially if you're, you know, everybody's big because like companies are so big now. Back then it seemed like companies were a little more smaller. Yeah. You know, like it's I haven't really thought about this until you just asked this, but so it's like my mind's thinking as I'm talking.
That's fine.
But yeah, it just seemed like a simpler time, like when our grandparents, they always say it was a simpler time back then, and you got more time to go outside and sit under a tree and like live life, you know. Where now we're just so hustle bustle, 200 miles an hour in 80 directions. Yeah. And, you know, but the whole social, there was no pressure for anything. There was no, and if you were doing a picture, it's to post on a forum. Or magazines weren't even really a big thing back then.
Wow.
So, like, yeah. So when did Recoil, do you even know when Recoil came out? I don't. I'd have to Google it.
No, I'd have to Google it too.
But there was no such thing as this stuff, you know? So I think back then it was just simpler, easier, more organic. It would be a good word, I guess.
So this is fascinating to me now. What was the marketing strategies then? Was it just getting to gun stores?
Ours was word of mouth. Word of mouth was always king back then because you didn't, again, no social media. So if you were at a unit or you were on a SWAT team or you're shooting competition, whatever, like, hey, go tell your buddies, which would require us to have more relationships for you to, you know, have relationships with who you have and spread the good word. So back then you had to rely on that and be buddy system and uphold the relationship, not just, hey, we meet, this, that, and the other, and carry on. Like, no, I want your feedback, good, bad, ugly. We're trying to make a better product or upgrade it or whatever. It was always, you know, business-based, but everybody was always friendly and easygoing and chill, and it just seemed more laid back, more easy. Just back then I don't remember too much pressure on anything, and, you know, now it's like we got to meet deadlines and all this stuff.
Yep.
And I got 12 ads due this month that are, you know, this is for Google and Facebook, and got to feed the social media monster.
Yep, got to.
So, you know, you constantly got to have food, and that, you know, there's one execution of actually doing it, the editing and all that. Then there's the creative aspect of where it's like, I got to think of what I'm even going to do before you know, it's a lot that goes into it.
It does. Yeah. So, that part is the part
people
that
underestimate.
Oh my God,
they underestimate it. Yeah.
Do they? Like,
it's just hitting a button.
Right? Yeah. No, it's
like,
not.
No,
yeah.
It's not.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, so you did G-Code. Before we move on to like the OSight and stuff, explain what G-Code was or is.
The word G-Code?
No, you're the company that you were with.
Oh, G-Code. We started out as basically a Kydex holster and mag company. That was its origins. Mm-hmm. But toward the end, or even now, it was more tactical based. So we had battle belts, we got chest rigs, and literally anything. You know, all of it was being fed by the need and demand of the customer, whoever it was. So, and you know, like. So back then, like even the quick disconnect system, everybody does it now. It's run of the mill. But back then, G-Code was the first company to ever do that. Oh, so, and it came from, I believe it was like a tanker, or he was in a Hummer, and he was complaining about shutting the door. And he was like, "It'd be cool if we got something to click right here, you know?" Well, then yeah. So, but back then it was so small. You know, the company didn't have money like that to do the legal back. You know, so. now everybody does it, but G-Code would have been rich off of that alone if they would have patented and all that. But
wow. Okay, cool. All right. So the integration to what you're doing now, how did we end up at OSight?
Oh, well, G-Code, we had our own little things going on there, but it was basically going into a transition period. There's the main leadership, and then leadership was going to be changing in a foreseeable future, and it was basically like stay on and continue on with that, and then the main owner wouldn't be the owner. We had worked together for so long, we worked great, and I was like, I'm used to a certain ecosystem and environment, and if you switch over to a more corporate, more whatever, I don't know how I would do well in a setting like that.
Right, you like you said, you came from the back shed to what it was. So
exactly.
Yeah,
like
I understand.
We started. Yeah, it was started in a shed, but when I left, it was 60,000 square foot facility. I don't know, it was like 70 employees or something. We're global. We're we're in movies, video games, and stuff. So like we made a footprint. Mm-hmm. But at this point in time too, like I don't know, my heart wasn't in it. I ran it.
Yeah, you were ready for a new chapter.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So I was co-owner, VP there. I did everything you need to do. And then I left and I just kind of took a chill pill, debated on what my next move was and whatever, did some consulting, whatever. And then I linked up with David. David's the co-founder of OSight, and we linked up, kind of exchanged some visions and what we think the future could hold. And, then he invited me out here to Phoenix, and I was like, well, okay, cool. And he just intrigued me with his ideas and things that he had on the scope, and I was like, dude, I definitely want in on this 1,000,000%. So he was a solid dude, and he had a good team behind him. So I was like, cool. And then jumped on, and then now we're trying to we'll be changing the industry here shortly.
I would say you guys have already started to change the industry, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about what's coming down the pipeline. Like it's coming, but yeah, it's interesting.
Cool. So OSight and their, I don't want to say necessarily transition from OSight, but what did you guys do separate or different from the OSight campaigning to what you guys are doing now with OSight?
Well, OSight, OSight is a group over here, and OSight is a new team that was formed. So
I'm very happy you made that distinction, because I don't think a lot of people know that.
They don't, and it's something that we're working on. But it's not this. We're a different team. So whatever OSight does with their marketing and all that, like I have no hands on with that. And then ours is more focused on the firearm industry. We're getting into competition. We're working on tactical and all that. So. But yeah, so it's kind of that.
No, that's cool. No, like I said, I think that's a very important distinction to make, because, I mean, we can be honest, OSight has a reputation, and I feel like you guys have to fight a lot of that reputation, which is a little unfair, but understandable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get it. I understand it. We're based out of here, Phoenix, and right now, we have manufacturing going on, but we're moving manufacturing here, so we have Made in USA and all that's in transition. But it's an uphill battle, but we're got it. We have a game plan. There's a strategy in place, but we're still building our team, and
I think you guys are doing great, though. Yeah. We talked about this before we turned the camera on, but how you guys have handled any type of problem that someone has brought to you, I think is the perfect way every company needs to be handling that.
We're firm believers in that, and being able to have a relationship with the customer base and be able to hear what they're saying, what's awesome, what's great, what sucks, what needs worked on, or hey, we have an idea that this might be cool. Like anything that they want to bring, we want to be a people company. So we want to build a relationship and be able to if we do mess up, cool, we're human, but we are going to do everything we can to make it better and not a problem moving forward. So that's kind of like our philosophy and our ethos, that we just kind of we do want to be the best. Yeah.
That's
so
dope.
We're coming.
That's dope. So because how many models is it on the SKU list now?
Oh shoot, we are up to is it 6? believe it's 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's
we just came out with a couple. I'm like, carry the one.
yeah. No, but we've seen other optics company come out with like 10, 15 SKUs at a time, and it's like, can you really like control the quality control that's going out from these, or you just have enough units to keep sending them out when they break? And to me, I get that strategy, but like I would much rather work with a company that's standing behind their product and you understand who is actually talking to you when you're communicating with them.
Yeah, and we've noticed that. It's not going to be our strategy,
Right.
but we get it. I totally get it for sure.
Now, I have to ask this specifically about you guys' stuff. The packaging was the first thing that I noticed when I opened the OSight.
Yep.
Was that part of the like marketing strategy
Yes.
as well? It was like, yo, you were basically opening like a Galaxy phone and having as many accessories and instructions as you need.
Yep. Because we look at it as a user experience. As in, and fun fact is the packaging is actually made in the same factory as Apple. So Apple packaging is right over there. Yeah.
It makes sense.
So, yeah, but the whole point with Apple is it's an experience.
Right.
Like you always look forward to how they're going to do it, you know. But we looked at, you know, basically what are all the competitors doing, what comes in theirs, how can you make it better? That was basically where we're at. So a common complaint was screws. So we came up with extra screws. There's more than enough
The diagram and the diagram for the screws, I was like, oh, like this is really a DIY red dot. Like I don't have to go to a gunsmith.
No.
I can sit here. If I need any help, I can probably hit YouTube University. Yeah, I was like, this is impressive. Like I've gotten a couple of those other optics. Shut up. I've gotten a couple of those other optics, and yeah, I'm like, nah, they're not competing with what you guys are putting out.
No, but that because think of it as like whenever they open it up, what is a question somebody could ask? Try to answer it before it's ever asked, or take care of it. They're going to need this, so you might as well put the little cleaning cloth in there, so they got a decent. You know, they're not scratching the lens up or whatever, you know, like they might lose their lid, so we put a lanyard in there. So we try to think of every way that someone could or would, or what would be a nice thing or whatever, and we just like dumped it in there. Like because we just want to, again, it goes back to user experience. So even when you use the red dot, you put it on, easy to use, easy to function, does everything you need to do. That's recipe for success.
The recharging cap. That's my favorite feature.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, I think I've heard a couple people have problems with it, but for me, it's on my 2011 platform. And every time I went to a class, I never had any questions about if my red dot was going to work, because I'd look on the top, fully charged, we're good to go.
Yeah, and like that's kind of a double-edged sword competition too, because if you think back in history of any major technology change or shift, there's early adopters, and then there's people that may speculate, they're just watching, you know, so like Steve Jobs, he's coming out with inventions that you don't even realize you want or need yet until, you know. So, but
I remember the iTouch. That was basically a iPad but a phone size. I was like, why do we need this? And then eventually we saw that it was actually useful. So, that makes sense.
Yeah, but and it originated because one of the main complaints was batteries. Before, you know, we were making before OSight was like that. That was basically one of the main things that we kept seeing is battery. Okay, well then think of how many devices that you just charge.
Right.
Everything is the same thing, so why not do it with that, you know? So it was cool. And then, you know, okay, so when we came out with that was our first two products, was the S and X, ARM-SC. Same technology, cool. It got our name out, shook the industry. And then it was like, oh, well, the early adopters loved it, and they loved it and ran with it. The other people were like, oh, I'm sick of battery, and like tried and like, cool, great, I get it. You know, because military, law enforcement, they'll just swap them before, you know, mission or whatever, so I get it.
But they have unlimited batteries,
exactly,
you know?
Exactly. But so then we're like, okay. So then we came out with the other version. It's basically the same site. Now you got battery and rechargeable. It's the same thing, but they're both, you know, lifetime guaranteed. They're both backed, and you know, so again, it went back to listening to the customer. That's what they want. Like, cool, okay, but we got some new technology that's coming, but that's what we have for now, you know. So, yeah.
You guys, I've said it. I'm very impressed by how you guys, the rollout, I'd say, the rollout of the company. But you did mention this, I guess, a little passively. You guys are bringing manufacturing back to America.
Correct. Yep.
can you tell us a little bit about that and the strategy behind it at all? Because to me, that's huge. Like, to say that now my red dot is fully American made is, hey, that's something everybody in this industry always loves to say. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking at it because like it's actually gonna be right here. We're in Chandler, so we're in Phoenix. But here didn't realize like how booming this is like the perfect place because there's no natural disasters. The no humidity is great for machinery. I mean, just look like this is a tech.
I think today was like the most weather we've seen, and it was just rain.
It's crazy. Over 300 days of sunshine. But look at all the microchips and computer companies here. Like this is like a mecca, so it made sense. But and I was just in China. I don't know. It was like a couple months ago. So they're basically what they're doing right now is like building out they basically have our layout right now mirrored over there, and they're getting it built. And once that's set up, they're just shipping it over here, and we'll set up here. Then it's a well-oiled machine, you know. But really, so that we can go after the military and GSA and stuff like that. So you can't go after any of these contracts or anything like that without
being here.
Correct. Yeah. So that's kind of the main push. That's kind of the main reason as to why we want to push it. So.
Okay. No, that's a great reason. I don't think that's a fact that a lot of people know yet. So for you to go into depth about it.
So technically, this would be the first.
Yes. We'll take it.
Yeah, because I think I've mentioned it a few times in the past, but we haven't done any posts. We haven't done anything super public or nothing like that. So. But whenever it hits, of course, I mean, they'll know because then we'll start marketing and pushing it,
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's dope. The last question I like to usually ask is, what is the 1 to 3 year plan, if you can even tell us?
1 to 3 year plan for OSight?
Yeah.
Rifle dots, new technology, and red dots. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
Just outside the box, left field.
Just stay tuned.
Stay tuned, for sure. Like, I can't talk about it.
Yeah, no.
I
wish
get that. I could, but I can't.
We'll wait until you can, and you'll come back here and give us the other drop for it.
Yeah.
That could be the part 2.
You got to have me back then, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so tell people where to find you. Tell people where to find the best OSight deals, anything like that. Give us your closeout and call to action.
Oh, man. All right, got to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the things. It's OSight World. And then our website is www.osight.com. That's going to be the best place to check us out. And then come get signed up for your emails and subscriptions, all that happy stuff. And just stay tuned and come check us out. We're starting to go out to all these events and SHOT Show and NRA, all these different events. So if you see us, come by, check us out, pick it up, ask us questions, and we're just here to make awesome stuff. And
that is literally how he got here. I just walked up to Jesse and started talking to him. We're not going to talk about the conversation that we had because it was very intriguing to me, but they are as transparent and as personable as it comes. So go check out the OSight team. They'll answer any question you have about anything going on.
Good, bad, ugly. Yeah, we're just here to help.
That's awesome, bro. Well, thank you for joining me. We're gonna cut this one short just so I can make sure I get you back for a part 2. But thank you for joining me. XTech Talks, guys. We are out of here.